originally when they came out with the state law and said high school only was, well, what about the younger kids?
Borland's decision comes as Indiana state lawmakers are considering expanding training and education on concussions to coaches of younger players in more sports. RTV6 Statehouse reporter Katie Hines joins us now.
State law currently requires high school coaches and their assistants to undergo specified training and education for concussions, but now lawmakers are considering extending that requirement to coaches of kids as young as 5th grade. Eskenazi emergency physician John Fennell will be the first to tell you that medical professionals haven't known the full impact of concussions until recently.
There's no real easy way to diagnose a concussion in terms of a blood test or a neuroimaging study. Typically what happens, it's more in physical exam. How is the patient reacting?
The athletic trainer for Beech Grove City Schools has seen several closed head injuries during his time on the job. Up until recently, he says coaches judged whether a player had a concussion based on whether they lost consciousness. But in reality, that only happens in 1 out of every 10 concussions.
Blow to the head is the first thing, and it doesn't always have to be a blow to the head. It can be something where they get hit really hard in the body and their head kind of goes sideways, or they hit their head on the floor.
Repetitive head injuries are the most damaging, resulting in long-term cognitive impairment. That's why it's critical for coaches to remove a player immediately to prevent another hit. State law currently requires coaches to do so until a licensed medical professional clears them to return. The proposed changes would require education for coaches of club, interscholastic, and intramural teams in more than a dozen sports for kids as young as 5th grade. Palma thinks it's a good idea. He's received pushback from parents in the past and coaches on removing players with injuries.
And we have some coaches that are, very old school. Hey, you got your bell rung and that kind of thing. Those days are over. A bell rung, it used to be, and I remember I had them in high school, you just got your bell rung. That's a concussion now. And it's not because anything changed, it's because we understand them better.
Under the proposed changes, coaches who comply with that education and training, those requirements would be relieved of any liability if a student or athlete were to come forward and sue for getting a concussion, say during practice or during a game. Now, the Senate has already approved these proposed changes. It goes to the House, where the sponsor tells us that he's working with the chairman to schedule a hearing. Reporting live, Katie Hines, RTV6.